back to us. So now I may just actually cut that and use it. It'd be great.
That'll be your.
You're welcome.
That'll be our transition from now on. It's just that. What's up, folks? It's Chris here with Reel Amigos, and we have a very special treat for you tonight. This is actually our very first spoiler cast, and we're going to be talking about what is possibly the biggest movie in the history of movies. That is Avengers Infinity War. With me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Donnie. Donnie, what's up?
Hola, not much. Coming to you from under the sombrero.
From under the...
It's the biggest movie until the next one comes out.
That's true. That we're actually going to talk about that because I'm interested in what you guys think about that. But we'll get there. Also, of course, it's Phil. You heard his voice. Phil, what's up, man?
Hey, it's Phil.
You got a little...
We're off
to a great start.
Yes.
So you have a little...
I've been joined by a couple of my friends. Star-studded event this evening.
That's right. So if you are watching the video version, if you're watching the video version, Phil is playing with toys while we are recording. He has some nice prop work going on this week in honor of Infinity War. Real quick, just so you know where we are.
That's about how long he was in the movie.
Oh
no.
Spoiler. Yep.
All right, so
you don't have to say spoiler at this.
That's true. You don't. But just so we're clear, before we go any further, this is a spoiler cast, which means we are going to ruin the movie. If you haven't seen Infinity War, which I don't know how in the world you haven't with all the money that it's made, but if you haven't, please bookmark this and come back and listen to it after you've seen it, because we are going to talk about the entire movie, the entire premise. Everything is going to be spoiled.
It's made that much money because Chris has seen it 50,000 times in 2 weeks.
Dude, if I had that much time, I probably would have. So, all right. Now, before we jump in, we actually are going to do something kind of different here. So bear with us, and we're going to actually throw you guys to some familiar faces. Let you get their take on what's going on.
Hey, it's Kira here for Reel Amigos, and with me is Gavin. How are you?
What's up? I'm doing good. How about you?
And also with me is Aaron. How are you?
Good.
So today we are going to be talking about the recently released Marvel movie, Avengers Infinity War. So, the first question that I would like to ask is, what did you think about the movie? We'll start with Gavin.
Oh, okay. I liked it a lot. I thought the action was good. I didn't think it was like any better than any of the other Avengers. And I was after the first time I saw it, I was disappointed how it ended. But as I watched it again, I was like, I can get on board this train. So I mean, overall, it was a pretty good Marvel movie, and they didn't disappoint.
Good. Aaron, your opinion?
I think it was different than I thought it was. But I think that it was pretty good in general because they just the action was good and and the characters, especially Spider-Man, was hilarious. So I also like the humor.
I don't feel so good.
Me neither.
Yes, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I'm a huge fan of the Marvel movies, and I think it'll be awesome. I think the next movie for the first one will be awesome. I can't wait. The first time that I saw it, I was just my mind was blown. But alright, so on to the second question. What was your favorite moment of the movie? This time we'll start with Aaron.
I think the favorite moment was the end when they all started disappearing, because I have an idea what's going to happen in the next movie.
All right, your turn, Gavin. What do you?
Okay, so my favorite action part was when they took on Thanos with like Star-Lord and all of them. But my favorite, I liked like the Hulk Bruce Banner dynamic that they had going, where like they were fighting as for my comedy relief. But yeah.
Yes, I gotta say my favorite part was as well the battle with Thanos. It was awesome. But actually, to tell you the truth, I really don't have a favorite part. I loved the movie. It was funny and it was action filled, and I loved it. So, the third question I would like to ask was, what was the biggest surprise to you that you were just like, what? What just happened? So we're going to start with Gavin.
Well, in a more general gist, I was surprised that they didn't finish the movie in one go, but I was actually really surprised when they made Star-Lord kind of screw up the movie, and that's how they could get it to another movie. But I was like, dang it, I love that character, and they ruined him. I was surprised.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, your opinion? Your favorite?
So I kind of have a debate between like the ending and the after the credits part, if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna go with the ending just because I was like not expecting that at all.
Yes. I actually will go with the ending. I go with the ending too because I'm just like, what? Like, I'm just like, really? They just disappear. That's it. And then the movie ends, and it's just like, really?
Yeah.
That's how the movie ends? Everybody disappears, and then it just blanks. It's just like, it's crazy. I did not like that part. I'll say that's probably the only part I did not like.
I think I didn't realize that Thanos had killed everybody until Black Panther had died. I was still confused when Bucky died. I was like, what's happening? But, yeah.
Yeah, I was so sad when Bucky died because they just brought him in, and then it was like, he was gone. And it's like, really? Really? I did not like the vanishing part. And then they killed Spider-Man. That was not a good moment at all.
To go a little off topic, who is going to be ruler of Wakanda? M'Baku or Shuri?
Oh. Well, I'm not really sure.
Shuri?
I don't know.
Not really Shuri?
I don't know. I don't even know if they would choose a new leader. I think maybe they would try to get Black Panther back, maybe, but
Yeah.
I don't know. 'Cause, I mean, Black Panther is probably like the best leader. But on to my final question. What do you think is going to happen in Avengers 4? So we're going to pick off, and so what do you think is going to happen? We'll start with Aaron.
So I was waiting for this. So basically, I think what's gonna happen is because at the ending, the very end after the credits, Captain Marvel came in. So I think Captain Marvel is gonna help everybody defeat Thanos. They're gonna get the Infinity Gauntlet back, and they're gonna get everybody that you thought died was in the Soul Stone. They're gonna get them all back. That's what I think, and I have people that also think that as well.
Yes. Your turn, Gavin.
All right. So I think somehow Captain Marvel's gonna play into all that, but at the end of the movie, Doctor Strange was like, Tony, that was the only way. There was only one way we could win. And I remember specifically when he told him earlier, if it comes to the stone, the kid or you, I'll pick the stone the whole time. And I'm like, why did he change his mind so fast? So I think somehow Doctor Strange has like done something to.
Yeah. In the next movie, yes, Captain Marvel will be a part of that, and yes, nobody actually, I don't know if you noticed that, but nobody actually said anything about dying. They said disappear. Spider-Man said, he didn't say, Tony, I don't want to die. He said, Tony, I don't want to go. And so I think somehow, because if you remember, Thanos snapped his fingers at everybody. So I think somebody is going to get the Infinity Gauntlet and snap him back. But, because, I mean, nobody said anything about dying. They just said they didn't want to disappear. Or they didn't want to go. And so, yeah, I think that's what the next movie will be.
Yeah, and well, like on a more logistical note, they have Black Panther set for a second movie, so somehow he has to come into play.
I mean, yeah. And then there's the new Spider-Man movie. I mean, unless it's set in an earlier time, I don't see... They have to
bring him back.
I mean, that's just like, what? It's not like TV shows. I mean, TV shows are, I mean, like kid TV shows are like, you know, one episode they die and the next they're back. You know, like those funny cartoon TV shows. But with movies, you have to bring the person back or else the movie is just going to be like, that was weird because they
obsolete.
Died. And then it's like, what? How did that even happen? And so, yeah, they're going to have to... Yeah, so unless the new Spider-Man movie and the new Black Panther movie is set in earlier times, which the Black Panther movie shouldn't be, but if the Spider-Man movie isn't set in earlier times, they have to bring Spider-Man back because then that would just be weird. Now, the question that I want to ask y'all is, what was your favorite Avenger and why? We'll start with Gavin.
Oh, this is a hard one. I think over the whole series, I like Cap a lot. Just because, you know, first Avenger, everything. But they made Iron Man so cool. His suit with the microparticles and nanoparticles. I know. Everybody watching is going to be like, nanoparticles. He is awesome. And then Doctor Strange is growing a lot in his power as well, so he's cool.
So, Aaron?
So I think Spider-Man, because he, like, on his regular movies, he was like just a weak link, and in Civil War, he was like nothing. But like in this movie, he definitely has gained a lot of power, and he got a brand new suit.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost like a robot suit, but it didn't act like a robot.
It's like an Iron Man, Spider-Man, Iron Man.
Yeah. I want to call it the Iron Spider costume, but that's actually another costume that looks totally different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my favorite Avenger, that is actually kind of hard. I don't really have a favorite Avenger. I mean, I like Scarlet Witch. I mean, but she didn't really have a big role play in it besides the part with Vision, but she didn't really have a big role play. But yeah, I don't really have a favorite Avenger. I just like them all. I love the movies, so
Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
love it.
She also was super powerful. She like
yes,
with those little big gears at the, I don't know what they called, and they were like flying at them, and then she just like
that was crazy.
forced that Star Wars and Avengers.
Yeah. Alright, so, well, that's our look at Avengers Infinity War. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Gavin and Aaron, for joining me tonight, and thank you all for listening. So, bye!
See ya.
All right, so you actually heard from our former selves. Is that what that was? It looked like we were all younger,
Yes.
and
Yes.
one of us actually changed genders. I don't know how that worked, but anyways, we are back now in the present, and we are going to talk about Avengers Infinity War. Let's start with just general impressions. I have a couple things I do want to cover with you. What I kind of put as like the big highlights of the movie, but let's just kind of take it back a little bit. Just general impressions walking out of the theater. We all saw it opening weekend, so walking out of the theater. Where was your headspace at? What was your initial impression? Donnie, let's start with you.
Well, I really enjoyed it a lot, and I was surprised. I was surprised knowing that people were going to die. I was surprised at who died and who didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
With the two guys there with Phil, I figured one of them was a goner. And nope, neither one.
Yep.
I was surprised by the lack of the Hulk in the movie.
Yes.
I was very surprised by that, probably maybe more than anything.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Hawkeye wasn't in it, which was a total shocker. Also,
which you called a couple weeks ago, which is hilarious.
I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was. I don't know that it was my favorite Marvel MCU movie, but it's up there. It was really good. What I really liked was the way they divvied everybody up into little groups and dealt with them.
So good.
I thought that was a good idea. Instead of like one mass of 25 people trying to keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
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 So-
No, I agree. So okay. So I took my 3 oldest kids to it. It was a little over 2.5 hours, or a little under 2.5 hours. Cademan, the 4-year-old, fell asleep. We have reclining chairs at our theater, and so he fell asleep close to the first hour mark. So he missed basically the whole entire movie.
Money well spent.
That's all right. You know what? He had fun. He had fun. It was good. So coming out of the theater, I was I was surprised that I was as close to what actually happened as I was. I don't go out of my way to like look at spoilers and stuff, so it's mainly just like watching trailers. And of course, I'm a big comic book nerd, so I knew a lot of the kind of the premise that it was based on. But I kind of had the beats out. I felt like Cap was going to go to Wakanda to protect Vision, like things like that. I just kind of felt like I
nailed
knew the
it.
flow. Yeah, I kind of felt like I knew the flow.
The finger snap, you nailed it, dude.
Yeah, so I was surprised at how close I was, but what really surprised me was that it did not affect one bit how just engaged with the movie that I was. And Donnie, you hit on it. They had 26 lead characters. And if you think about the names, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Josh Brolin, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Benicio del Toro was in it, for a moment, but he was still there. You had Gwyneth Paltrow was in it. You were talking about.
She was in it?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Oh,
yeah,
at the beginning, yeah.
But I mean, you're talking about like huge actors, and to be able to give them all, like every single person got a moment to shine, and that was remarkable. Like when Cap walked in to the Avengers complex, and Rhodey was there. And Rhodey turned around and he turns the monitor off and he's like, that's perjury or whatever he says. But
it's gonna be a court martial.
Oh, court martial, yeah. But like even that, like War Machine, the guy who has barely had any screen time at all, like he even gets a moment to kind of have like a standout. Like I just thought it was executed almost as perfect as a movie of that caliber could be. I thought it looked great. I thought the editing was just phenomenal. It is by far not the best MCU movie because this wasn't about building, the foundation. All of that was done. This is about taking all the foundation that they built for the last, 10 years and turning it into just a bonkers action piece. And I thought it was great. So that was my thought coming out. Phil, what about you, man?
Well, while you were surprised by how accurate you were, conversely, I was shocked at how inaccurate Carrie was.
Yeah.
However,
that was disappointing.
But no, man, dude, I came out. Gavin hated it. First showing. First of all, I was the first one of us to see it, and I was just kind of snuck out on Thursday night. I kind of was supposed to go see it with Brent, but I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
And so one night I put the kids to bed and I said, Gavin, let's go. And he's like, what? I'm like, we're going to the movie tonight. He's like, well, I get to stay home from school tomorrow, right? I said, no, still got to go to school. He's like, crap. But he hated it. He was disappointed. He was frustrated. He didn't like it. I loved it. I raved about it. And then I didn't have anybody to talk to about it for 4 days. Literally nobody.
That's how I felt too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, no, I thought the way they did, I think the way, Donnie, you mentioned how they grouped everybody up, but even deeper than that is how they grouped them up. So you put Chris Pratt in the scene with Robert Downey Jr., you got a lot of that sort of, they have this similar
witty repartee
personality, but it doesn't play off. It like,
is natural. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So there's this rub.
Yeah. When Star-Lord and Spider-Man are there, and he says, and they talk about Footloose, and he's like, "Oh, that's still the greatest American movie ever made," and he's like, "I don't think it ever was." The dialogue
you guys remember that old movie Aliens?
Good. Yeah, God,
Yeah,
the dialogue
Spider-Man.
is so good, man.
When he says, "Who's your master?" He's like, "What, Jesus? I don't. What am I supposed to say?"
Oh, it's good. It's great.
It was just great. It was clever. You guys didn't. I don't know. If I remember the chat strand that we have going on. You guys didn't. I don't know. Donnie had some questions about Cap's capacity to fight off these aliens and that team, like Black Widow and those guys. But I thought that was brilliant. I thought it reinforced the thing that you see throughout the movies is that Cap is more than anybody realizes he can be. Like, he's the guy who almost moves Thor's hammer. He's the guy who is the only human that can stand up against these aliens. Like, I love it. I love him. I think what they're doing with his character, it's unfortunate that he's probably going to die in the next movie and he'll be gone.
Yeah, God, he's
because
so good.
I just love it. When he caught that spear, I was like,
so good.
Yes.
So good. Yeah,
I verbally reacted in the theater. I was like, yes.
Yeah, we'll get to it. That scene where him and Black Panther just headlong into that assault, and they're like, you know, they're yards ahead of everybody else, and they just go full steam into that horde. That's excellent. Okay, so this is what
the same character. Essentially, Captain America and Black Panther are kind of the same in the sense that they are like the darling of their people.
Yeah,
but I did think that Cap wasn't in it a lot either.
I do agree. I feel like I would like to have seen him more. Yeah,
by how little he was in it.
Yeah.
Did you notice Thanos' face though when he was holding back his gauntleted hand, and he was like,
it was the same Thor face. Guy? Yeah, it was the same Thor face whenever he kind of moved the hammer. Yeah, I love Cap.
Nothing like a little classic American exceptionalism.
That's right.
Beautiful, man.
I think that you know this is, you know, we'll talk about it. This is Thanos' movie, and I feel like I feel like Cap got shortchanged only because the majority of what we needed to know happened in space. Like, there's that giant chunk on Titan where you know Tony Stark actually gets to be, but there's such a that's so vital. They had to spend the time there. I absolutely think that Avengers 4 is going to be Cap's movie, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that. Okay, this is what I want to do because I don't want to take all night, but there's some things that I want to do. I've basically I've outlined for us what I feel like are the key moments of progression through the story. So what I want to do is I want to hit on them as we go through here. Obviously, if I've missed something, you know, we can obviously talk about it as it comes up. So this is by no means set in stone, but this is how we're going to start. Okay, so let's just start with the opening of the movie. Now, did both of you guys see Ragnarok before?
No, I was totally confused.
Okay, so but Donnie, you did, right? So real quick, it was a great way to cap the Ragnarok off, leading into Infinity War. So Ragnarok is Asgard is destroyed, and so all of whoever's left on Asgard is now on the ship. And in the stinger for Ragnarok, you see the ship out in space, and then behind it comes this giant ship, which instantly when I saw it, I'm like, that's Thanos' ship, which now clearly we know that it is. And so the movie opens on that moment. Like, it does not waste time. It just literally opens with Thanos having already basically wiped out the majority of the people. Now, they do give us a throwaway line later on in the movie that he only wiped out half of the Asgardians. And so I don't want to dwell on that point, but we leave Ragnarok with Valkyrie, who is nowhere to be seen. And
that's right.
So I feel like what we're going to find out is maybe Valkyrie took any survivor that she could in maybe an escape pod, and that's why they're not there. But can I interrupt? Are the people on the ship all that's left of Asgard? All that's left of Asgard. Yep. Asgard is destroyed. They all got on that ship. So yeah. So
by Thanos? Or
no. So in Ragnarok,
sister, right?
Yeah, by death. Yeah, by death. Well, technically it was by Surtur, because Surtur's the one who destroyed Asgard. the Ragnarok is actually the Ragnarok prophecy is the destruction of Asgard, and so Thor actually lets it happen, and by destroying Asgard, because that's where Death got her power, he destroyed Death. This is not a spoiler cast for Ragnarok, but that's where we are. And so, but they introduced Valkyrie. Valkyrie's the last Valkyrie. She is in Asgard. She goes back with Thor. They fight in the last battle in Ragnarok. She is nowhere to be seen. She was a pretty strong presence in that movie. So I feel like that obviously she's not going anywhere. And so the only reasonable explanation is that she escaped with some survivors. So, but that being said, that doesn't matter right now. What matters is the movie opens with most everybody beat to death. They show Heimdall. Heimdall is really badly injured, and then you see Thanos, and then the children of Thanos are there. So Ebony Maw and I don't know all their names. Whoever, they're all there.
I'm surprised to hear that.
I do, but now that I think about it, I'm blanking on all their names. There's the Maw.
It's okay.
There's anyway. Okay, so let's just talk about this scene. So real quick, you have Thanos is basically looking for the Tesseract, which is the stone that was in the very first Avengers movie. He already has the gauntlet when we see him. He already has the Power Stone. The Power Stone was taken from Xandar. From Guardians of the Galaxy, and we know that because Thor tells us that later in the movie. So he has one stone. He's there to get the second stone. Before we even get to anything, we have Hulk come out of nowhere and jump Thanos. Now, what was your thought when Hulk, there's this scene. Well, I don't know if you looked. I don't know, because I don't know how many times you guys have seen it. There's this scene where Hulk starts to punch Thanos, and Thanos basically just hits him one time, and Hulk's face goes like, holy crap, that's not supposed to hurt, but it did. It's like his whole face turned.
Oh yeah, it's like complete shock.
Yeah.
This is the guy that punched a giant flying worm.
That's right.
And it just went. And it just stopped.
That's right. Yeah. So then we get this total beatdown of what did you guys think about that? The fact that we get Thanos' introduction by beating the crap out of the Hulk.
Genius.
Yeah. It's a total playback to the first one where he did that to Loki, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because doesn't he say puny Hulk or something?
Puny God.
No. I mean Thanos in this one. He makes a comment after
maybe he does. Yeah, maybe
he does make a comment, but I don't remember exactly what he said. Yeah. But it was similar.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, so I would basically call it like a Hulk cameo because that's it.
That is it. So we're going to talk about. I do want to talk about Hulk in a second. So at that moment, Hulk is then Heimdall takes all the power that he has, and he sends Hulk down, and he lands in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Can someone explain to me why he only sends Hulk away?
That's a good
Donnie,
question. It can only take one person at a time.
By someone, I'm gonna.
What is that called? The gold. What is it called? The frost. The what frost?
The Bifrost.
Bifrost.
Are you asking why he sent Hulk instead of Thor? Is that what you're asking?
Why did he only send Hulk? Why didn't he send all of them? I think is Phil's question.
Well, because if you remember, he says a little prayer to the Asgardian god, and something like, grant me power, and it's almost like, because look, he's not he has the sword, and so I guess he was using the last little bit of his power. He's not supposed to do that. That is done by the actual Bifrost, which was destroyed on Asgard. So I feel like it was almost like I got one shot to do this, and so I'm going to send somebody back. Now, why he chose Hulk over Thor? Because I think Thor is a much stronger candidate. So I'm not sure.
Right.
We can have
if you're worried about the plight of your people, it would seem that they're sort of. Their heir to the throne, if you will, would be the guy you would rescue.
Yeah. No,
Hulk was also probably about to get killed, so maybe that's why.
What does Heimdall care?
I don't know.
But again, you haven't seen Ragnarok, and Ragnarok, Hulk actually comes in and helps save the day. So there is some history there. So.
Get with the program, man. Come on.
All right. I only had time to watch one movie today. Okay?
Okay, so anyways, that brings us to to Thor being tortured and Loki finally deciding that he wants to save his brother, so he gives up the Tesseract. The Tesseract is crushed, and then it reveals the second stone, which is the Space Stone, which is used for teleportation. He drops it into the Infinity Gauntlet. At that point, Loki decides he wants to be a hero, and you see him pull the dagger out, and he's gonna, for some reason, he thinks he's gonna kill Thanos with the dagger. But he goes to kill Thanos. Thanos grabs him.
Pretty wussy little dagger.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a letter opener.
It is. Thanos grabs him. Thanos chokes him to death. Loki is dead. This is the first 8 minutes of the movie. Loki is dead. So, how do we feel about Loki's death?
No surprise.
You were surprised?
No surprise. I knew they were going to kill somebody fast.
Yeah, they had to kill somebody major.
Yeah.
So that didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. You mentioned puny knife. Do you think it was like a chump way to go though, Phil?
I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I didn't get it at all. As far as like the logic of it, but when you start asking why questions in movies, then you're missing the point, probably.
Especially superhero movies.
Right.
Sure.
What?
All right. So at this point,
I do feel like the whole idea of like he's going to try to kill Thanos and he's going to try to do it in this manner, like, didn't make a ton of sense. I kind of thought, and again, I haven't seen Ragnarok, so I kind of thought Loki was being serious at first when he started to say, "Look, I'll follow you." Because he's kind of watches his own back. And then obviously he pulled out the knife, but I kind of thought. Yeah. But I guess what I loved about it, though, and this scene proved it, was Thanos isn't your typical bad guy. Like, he's not so self-seeking that he's going to fall for any of that crap.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's not going to stand around a monologue. Is what you're saying, which is good.
Great.
Yeah, he was. I
don't know if we get a chance to talk about that, but man, he was great.
We're going to talk about him a lot when we get to Vormir. So from here we get Hulk. Hulk goes to it finds Doctor Strange. Let's just address the Hulk size problem right now. And when I say problem, I think it's only a problem because I don't think that it was very clear. But I actually think that what they did with Hulk in this was a good move.
Clothes on.
So when Bruce Banner gets to back to Earth, he's in New York. The attack happens. You have Doctor Strange, you have Iron Man, you have Hulk, and so they're expecting Hulk to transform and basically jump in and save the day. And Hulk can't transform. In fact, Hulk doesn't transform the entire duration of the rest of the film. There is no more Hulk. But
Bruce Banner tries to get him to come, but then he's talking to him like he's another entity in his brain, right?
Yeah.
Which is consistent with some of the like '90s comics.
Yeah.
When you get into the '90s, like Hulk he talks, he's a different color, there's a whole battle inside of his brain. Like, I wonder if that's what, are we getting to the stronger, smarter Hulk?
What?
I mean, yeah. So again, you haven't seen Ragnarok, but in Ragnarok, I think he spent something like 2 years in Ragnarok. Hulk was, and he never transformed into Banner. So so 2 years in the Hulk, he's starting to talk. And so I definitely think that we're moving kind of in that direction. What I think, and again, this is why I think this was probably for me the only misstep. If I was calling it a misstep, is that I feel like the reason he didn't transform is because he's scared. But they never say that. I think Hulk has never been beat down like he was by Thanos, and I think I think that he is like, I don't want to come out and play like I am literally scared to do this. And do
you really think they needed to explain that? Like, I kind of like, what other reason do you think?
I never thought that at all. I just thought I just thought it was like a.
That's immediately what I thought. I told Chris.
I told you guys I don't overanalyze things. I'm a simple man, so That's why I like talking to Chris, because Chris knows far more about this movie in one viewing than I'll know if I watched it 50 times.
Yeah.
And so you're right. The fact is, I agree. I think that is clearly why, but they did not state that, and so there could possibly be another reason. I mean, you could argue that maybe he was affected by the Bifrost beam. And maybe he can't fully transform, but then that comes away whenever Hulk literally at the end
he
tells
says
him
no.
Yeah,
he's making a conscious decision not to come out and play.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump to we're gonna fast forward here. Thor gets with the Guardians. I will say this: my absolute favorite parts of this movie all had to do with the Guardians. When the Guardians were on screen, it was literally my favorite part. I feel like Infinity War was maybe almost like Guardians 2.5, and the stuff with them and Thor was just it was just so good.
It was good.
It
Yeah,
was so good.
Particularly Thor and Rabbit.
Yeah. So that's where we're gonna go. So they get together. Thor having seen the power of Thanos, decides he can only stop him with a new weapon since his hammer was destroyed. Again, Thor, you didn't see Ragnarok, Phil, but
It was implied in the
Thor's
movie.
hammer is destroyed. Yeah. So Rocket, Groot, and Thor go on a quest to go get a new weapon. And it actually isn't a hammer, it's actually an axe. It's called Stormbreaker. It actually has a much harder to pronounce name, but I'm glad they just called it Stormbreaker in the movie. So let's talk about that. Perfect. So they fly off, and we'll get back to the Guardians in a second because they meet up with Iron Man. But they fly off. They go to this dwarf star, to the guy to a space dwarf who actually made Melanor the first time. So that's what he does. He makes powerful weapons. And then we meet the dwarf, who was Peter Dinklage. Did not expect that. Actually, as much as I know about this movie, I did not know Peter Dinklage was in it.
I told Chris that. I said, my chair just dropped on you.
Did Carrie mention him in her spoiler?
No. I can't get into why she wouldn't have had she even known. Let's just say it involves phobias. But how
do you call a guy a dwarf that's like 50 feet tall?
So when I teased to Chris that Peter Dinklage was in this movie, I said it's the first time he's ever been the tallest guy in the room.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
And Chris was like, "Oh, Ant-Man," and I was like, "No."
Which, to be fair, that was a great guess on my part. I thought Ant-Man showed up, but no, he's a giant space dwarf.
He's a space dwarf. Dwarf is relative to your typical surroundings.
Yeah, or your race? I don't know. Anyway, he is a space dwarf, and so we meet him. I don't know his name. I didn't even think and write it down. Crap. He has a name. He's actually in the comics. I apologize, but he has a name. So basically he tells us the story that Thanos came. They have the mold for the Infinity Gauntlet, which again, you would question why would they have a mold for this? But like their whole job is to make the most powerful weapons in the universe, including a giant hammer that only Thor can carry. So it's not unheard of that they would have a mold to make a gauntlet that could hold something that powerful. But anyways, they have the mold for the Infinity Gauntlet. He explains that Thanos how to make it, and then Thanos killed everybody.
I got the impression that they didn't just have the mold; that Thanos threatened them into making this weapon.
Okay,
you're gonna do it, or all these people are gonna die, because it is built to Thanos' size.
He's a large man also.
He's not small, so...
That is true.
I was given, based on the interaction that Dinklage had with Thor, I got the impression that he basically showed up and said, I'm going to kill all of you unless you build this. And then he killed them all anyway, and then dipped his hands in molten whatever.
Yeah, that's the impression I got, too.
So here's my only argument with that, which it makes sense. But
it's not your only argument. In the Hall of Weapons on Asgard, Odin had a replica of the gauntlet. And in Thor Ragnarok, Death is walking around and she picks it up and throws it down. She says it's a fake. So, which would lead me to believe that it had already been made at some point. It had already been fashioned.
Now, that's going by.
But then it would have been made before Thanos forced him to make it then in that case. I don't know.
Sure.
I can't go down that hole.
Sure, and we don't know that the stones haven't been together.
And it is a hole.
Before. To be honest, we'll talk about this at the end. If everything is cyclical, then maybe this has all happened before. But we'll get there. So anyway, regardless of what it is, he gets them to make the gauntlet, and then he wipes out all of the dwarfs except for Peter Dinklage, and then he basically melts metal around Peter Dinklage's hands, so now he can't use them. Yes, everybody's in agreement. That's what happened.
Yep.
So he gets Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage agrees to make the weapon. Thor has to go kickstart the Dwarf Star, and he makes Stormbreaker. There was a great scene with Groot.
I love it. The handle is Groot's arm.
I know, that was great. That was
yeah, I forgot about that.
Groot really didn't have much to do in this movie except for just really be angsty. But that was a really cool scene having him again.
When he said,
gets-
"I am Groot," and they're like, "Whoa,
yeah, we're gonna watch. We're gonna talk about language."
acorns on this guy."
No, it was good. Yeah, but yeah, you get that moment again. Going back to that, every single character, even if it was small, had a really cool moment in this movie, and that was Groot. Whenever Groot was able to not pick up the hammer, Stormbreaker, and then have his arm, so that was cool. So now Thor's got a new weapon, which comes into play at the end. Okay, while this is going on, we get to nowhere, where we find Tobias. Did you guys see Tobias?
No.
Phil, did you see Tobias?
Only in
your pictures afterwards.
So again, the Russo brothers created Arrested Development, and so they had Tobias Fuke in the Blue Man suit in one of the exhibits in the collector's homeworld of nowhere. It's if you want to check it out, you can actually Google. They have screenshots of it now. It's pretty funny. But they get there. Gamora ends up going with Thanos. I want to talk about this real quick because my other nitpick with the movie is that I don't think that they did a good job explaining the powers of the gauntlet.
Nope, I had no clue.
So
Donnie's like, "Man, that is one nice glove."
I knew they had powers, but they do not explain it at all. When Drax falls to pieces, I was like, "Oh, he's dead."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I mean, I was like, "Okay, he's not surviving that."
Yeah.
And
So
then Chris told me that was like a perception stone or whatever.
Yeah, it's the
Like
reality
changed
stone.
the
reality.
But I didn't know that's what he was using.
Right, exactly. What does that even mean?
They should have had him go, "Reality Stone."
Right. Ding, 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 ding. Reality, it lights up. Reality Stone!
he's not a Power Ranger.
Like a Power Ranger flying across the screen. Sorry.
Okay.
They should have worked it into every dialogue. Like, "Guys, come with me. We're going to use this space stone to go somewhere else."
So soon!
Okay.
And then Donnie and I would have been like, "Oh, okay. That's
Okay,
what's happening."
Let's do this PSA real quick, okay? So the first stone that he gets is the Power Stone. The Power Stone just gives you increased strength, okay, and endurance. Think Superman, okay?
No. He beat up the Hulk.
Yeah, but Superman can beat up the Hulk.
Stronger. What?
Superman beat up the Hulk?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, we can't have that conversation right now.
Power Stone.
Okay, but a woman at work, just sidebar, a woman at work today, I said something about how my kids love Marvel, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my kid does too. He's like in the Marvel, like Superman." And I'm like,
"Oh no,
whoa!
I can't talk to you anymore." Please see yourself out. The door's right there.
Like, what are you talking about?
Power Stone, increased power.
Okay, the second stone he gets is the Space Stone. All the Space Stone allows you to do is teleport.
Teleportation, go.
Space Stone.
The third stone he gets is the Reality Stone.
I like Thanos.
Yeah.
He seemed like he had like proper motive. I mean,
yeah.
It didn't seem totally unreasonable. Like, he didn't kill everybody. Like, he wasn't like willy-nilly wiping people out.
Like Chris made it sound like he was just doing all this to impress a girl.
In the comics,
right? That's not the case in the movie.
Which
I love. No, Death. Death.
Oh, Death. That's right. You did say that.
But no. I absolutely love that they changed because it's in Infinity Gauntlet. His motivation is crappy. I love this. I love that it's like this whole this thought of. I mean, he thinks he's the hero. He thinks he is saving the galaxy.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
By equaling the population. Like, that's super cool. I like that. I do agree that I needed more on Titan. I needed it to be a wife or his parents or somebody to make him go to the lengths that he went to wipe out the galaxy. I don't have a problem with him doing it, but just like, my hometown got ruined, so now I'm going to wipe out the galaxy. Like, it felt like there should have been a little bit something there, but I mean, he's idealistic, which is good. He's the hero of the story, right. and he wins. Spoilers.
And you get a different. We're not to the Vormir thing yet.
That's where we're about to go.
You get a different. Picture.
You're only halfway through the stones, so.
Well, he's going to get to the Soul Stone
and Vormir.
You get this picture because like he sheds a tear on Vormir, so all of a sudden he's not just a death dealer,
lover.
Right. He's like he doesn't want to do this.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. Okay, so let's just jump there. Okay, we'll get to your stones. He finds out that Gamora knew where the Soul Stone was, and so he threatens to torture Nebula, and Gamora agrees to take him to the stone. So they go to Vormir.
Can I bring something up?
Yeah,
real quick. In that context, you and I talked about it, Chris. Everyone talks about the greater good, greater mankind, but 3 times in this movie, at the threat of a single individual's life, they give it up.
It's true.
Like, okay, Nebula, nope, here it is. Yeah. What was the other one? It was Iron Man, Captain Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And then the third one, I can't. What was it?
Loki and Thor.
Loki gave it up.
And you could almost even argue that they do the same thing with Vision.
But they kind of do, yeah. I guess to try to save him.
So I was talking to a friend
of ours. To no avail, spoiler.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of ours. Chris knows him. His name's Matt Nelson. He and I were.
How you doing, Matt?
You actually met Matt a couple times.
Did I? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, you actually did.
Sorry, Matt. I know Matt.
He led worship at our church.
Yeah.
So he wrote there. He was frustrated. Said the whole good guys being good guys thing was way overplayed. And then he says, no less than 3 of the 6 stones he got by, please spare Thor, Nebula, and Stark's life, and I'll give this to you.
Right. That's what I told Chris. It's like, don't these guys see the bigger picture?
Yeah, but I don't think that is the case with Stark.
Oh, and then Star-Lord not killing Gamora when she told him to.
Well, no, he tried. No, he tried to. Remember?
Yeah, but he waited way.
He waited way too long. No, I agree.
He did pull the trigger, didn't he? At the end, when the bubbles came out.
But
was he shooting at her or at him?
No, he was shooting at her.
Okay.
Here's the suspicion of all of that. So let's get to things we wrote. Well, I know we're coming to this, but something that is suspicious, and it does apply to Gamora, so it's part of this Soul Stone thing. Why doesn't she go away from Thanos?
Right.
If she knows what the stone is. Why is she on the team of Guardians that goes, yeah, let's go right to him?
Let's go right to them, yeah.
She could have gone the other direction. Like, at that point, Gamora becomes the most prized reality in the galaxy. Keep her alive or kill her now, if you want to get real morbid. But without her, he cannot accomplish his will, and she goes right to his house.
Dummy.
So, okay, this is going to be, the only way to do this is to be apologetic. And so, they had so much to juggle that you're right. My biggest thing, which we're going to talk about on Vormir, is that the only thing in the galaxy that Thanos loves happened to be right next to him. That, to me, is a step too far. Okay? The fact that Gamora wants to kill him. It's not enough that if I run away, he'll never get the stone. He's still going to be out there. And even if he had, maybe he wouldn't be able to snap, but even if he had 5 of the 6 stones, he would still be able to wipe out a lot of people. Gamora is a hero. Gamora wants to stop him, put an end to Thanos. So I'm actually okay with that.
I get on board with that.
But I do find it very ironic that when they show up at Vormir, which we're transitioning into, we find out that you have to sacrifice something to get the Soul Stone, something that you love. And he literally turns around and she's standing right there, and it's the only thing in the galaxy she loves, and she happens to be there. That's a little too opportunistic, but again, the movie's already 2.5 hours. You had to just, it had to happen. So let's
you have to just embrace certain
you have
jumps.
to kind of accept what it is. Okay, so let's talk about Vormir. So we get to Vormir, and the very first thing we see is a floating robed person. Did you have any plan, like any thought of who that was?
We're not even going to talk about the fourth stone, the kidney stone, where he comes into the room and everyone pees their pants. We're not even going to talk about that. The kidney stone!
Is that a
That's
Friends
not real?
reference? Is that a Friends reference?
I don't know.
I have no clue what that means.
There was a scene in Friends where Joey got kidney stones, and
Give me the last three real
the
quick.
doctor comes in and goes, "You have kidney
Okay.
stones," or kidney stones.
So we have the Soul Stone. Okay, the Soul Stone is orange. It is literally the stone that gives you the power over life and death.
Okay, number 5.
Number 5 is the stone that he gets from Doctor Strange, the Eye of Agamotto. That is the Time Stone.
Time Stone.
Okay?
That's
the Time
green.
Stone lets you alter time. Now, this is one thing we also don't know, is if you can only alter time in proximity. Is it like the Reality Stone? Because the only time that we've seen it be used is with Doctor Strange, and he uses it in Hong Kong, where he is. And then we see him, Thanos use it at the very end of this movie, but it just affects where he is. So when they're changing time, is it the entire galaxy that's going backwards, or is it just in proximity of the glove?
They didn't explain it.
They did.
I don't know.
I know. All right. So then the final stone he gets from Vision, the final stone is the Mind Stone, and it gives him telepathy and telekinesis, so he can read people's minds and move stuff with his brains. Okay, back on track. We're on Vormir. We see Red Skull. Did you guys have any indication of who that was prior to knowing that it was Red Skull?
Of course not.
Okay. What did you think about Red Skull showing up?
Donnie probably went, "Who's that?"
No, I know Red Skull. I remember him from Captain America, the first Avenger.
What do we think about
I
Red
thought
Skull?
it was cool. What do you say? He was cursed, right? He was stuck there.
He was cursed. So if you remember back in the first Avenger, with the fight, he's so what's the word? He wants
red.
No. He wants the Tesseract. He's like so enthralled with the Tesseract. Like he consumed with consumed with it. There you go. And so he holds it, and you see him disappear out of the ship at the end of the movie. And we've never known where he was. The assumption was that he died, but we never know where he was. Obviously, the Tesseract is the Space Stone, so it's teleportation. So now we know it teleported him to Vormir, and he's cursed to watch over the Soul Stone. I hope we get back to Red Skull, because I would like a little bit more history on exactly what that means and like what he can do to get out of that. Obviously,
standalone Red Skull movie.
No. But I know. But
That'd be a boring movie.
What do you think, Phil?
It would be.
Oh Lord. Okay, so
why are you laughing at me, Chris? Seriously. Okay.
I think a standalone Red Skull movie would be boring because it would just be the guy sitting on a rock waiting for Thanos to show up for an hour.
It would be like the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade knight sitting in the Holy Grail room, just alone forever. Hey, someone showed up. Come talk to me.
What would be really great is if the whole movie was like security camera footage and it was just him doing stuff, like making a cup of ramen. Looking around,
like throwing rocks,
on fake noses,
like just throwing rocks.
Yeah.
How does this look on me?
Drawing hopscotch. He's doing a hopscotch by himself.
Hopscotch, classic.
Okay, so we're at Vormir. He tells them that in order to get the Soul Stone, you have to sacrifice the thing that you love the most. At that moment, Gamora laughs because she's like, "You don't love anything," and then he starts crying, and then. But
we all know where that's going as soon as they say that.
Yeah,
right.
And this is kind of like again, I feel like Gamora stayed way too long. Like Gamora should have put a little more of a fight up. That's my one problem with that, is she should have tried to run away, or, again, at this point, he has the Space Stone. If she would have ran, he could have just teleported right in front of her and grabbed her, something.
But arguably, she just doesn't believe he loves her. Or arguably,
Right.
she feels like she needs to.
I mean,
So
that's true.
but he's obviously right. He does love her, right?
He does love her, yeah. Because he sacrifices her and he gets the Soul Stone. So.
Is she gone for good?
Yeah, she has to be, right?
I don't think so. So
Dude, Donnie, with the Space Stone and Doctor Strange and the fact that they're all still alive in an alternate universe, alternate timeline, she can still be alive.
My argument for
out.
this is that she's the sacrifice for the Soul Stone, and so with that being the case, I think that maybe if the Soul Stone was returned, that she could maybe be restored. Would be my guess.
Okay.
All right, whatever. Move on. Okay, move on. We get to probably I would argue, the better action sequence in the entire movie, which is the assault on Titan. So we get to Titan. This is now Tony Stark and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are in the donut spaceship. They fly it to Titan. Tony Stark's plan is, hey, he's going to come to Earth anyway, so if we meet him on Titan and surprise him, get the jump on him, we can defeat him. Okay, that's the plan. They get to Titan. The Guardians also show up at Titan. So now you have this great dynamic between Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Tony Stark, Star-Lord, Drax, Mantis. Hilarious. Some of the best moments are on the Titan. And so then Thanos shows up, and Thanos gives us his reasoning. He uses the power of the Reality Stone to show them what Titan used to look like, and how, because nobody listened to him, half of the population, or pretty much all the population, was wiped out, and the planet is in ruin. This is what I mentioned earlier, is that I feel like there should have been some sort of personal link.
It would have been neat to see Thanos like playing with his kid.
Yeah, absolutely, and like his kid die. Let me say this:
or holding her dead body.
Yeah, exactly. If you had to listen, if you had to hold your daughter as she starved to death, that would break you. You know, I could see that. Like, they call him the Mad Titan. That's his name. That's his nickname. I could see that guy wanting to save the world by killing half of the galaxy. But a guy that's just like, man, this was my favorite tree I used to play on, and now it's dead because nobody had any food. I just feel like I would have liked to seen a little something more from that motivation. Right? Am I wrong?
I agree. Totally. But I will say that if you're the guy holding your kid who's starving to death, maybe you should have eaten less.
Yeah, but the argument is made. I mean, again, we can't argue something that didn't happen. I mean, as a man, he may have been able to survive longer than a child. You know. I
was just giving a stump. No, absolutely, man. He needs that humanizing, for like, I mean, he's not human, but that sense of like empathy.
Yeah, it would also make sense why he picks Gamora.
Right, he's trying to rebuild the life he lost.
God, I hope they touch on that in Avengers 4. That could be kind of cool. Okay, but that leads us into the fight. So, what did you guys think about the fight? Like, this is the fight
I love the fight. It was a good fight.
Doctor Strange is like putting platforms and they're jumping on, and Spider-Man's swinging around. It was a great fight.
Yeah, it was a great fight. I enjoyed the way everybody got involved.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm confused about Spider-Man's strength, though. Like, in Civil War, he's super strong.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man.
I mean,
but is he stronger than Captain America? Seems to be.
No, I wouldn't think so.
In Civil War, you didn't think so? It seemed like he was.
No,
but he has the jump on Cap a lot, and he also can swing into him, which gives you pendulum motion.
Yeah.
But I don't think in straight hand-to-hand he's better than Cap.
At one point, remember, he webs Cap, and Cap yanks him to him and just freaking clotheslines him.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, yeah.
On that note, I did think that Spider-Man was a little too gadgety in this movie. I didn't really care for all that. But I know why they did it. I know they were trying to show off all the Iron Man
nanotechnology.
tech and all of that.
But
Yeah.
that is
I
comics.
care for
There
it.
is a comic suit where he has the legs, the extra legs. So
Right.
that they brought that in was really cool. I liked it a lot.
I thought the suit looked cool. I do agree that, but again, this is not Spider-Man's movie. You know what I mean? Like if this was the Spider-Man we get in the next Spider-Man movie, I would have been disappointed. But because so much is going on, it's like, it's hard to even nitpick that. I love the Footloose, which we already quoted. I love that whole Footloose interaction. I thought was hilarious.
That's one thing that the MCU has mastered for sure is the effortless humor. They have got. I mean, the throwaway lines in these movies is really.
So good.
It's really good. Yeah, go back and watch them.
It's like if an angel had a baby with a pirate.
Yeah, his whole shield.
when he thinks that he can't be seen, they're like, "How long have you been there?" I've been here an hour.
That was probably my favorite part of the movie.
He's like got the chip, right? He's like,
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna move so slow right now that I will be literally invisible.
He's just Drax is
love him.
underrated, man. He is one of the
Doesn't he
funniest
say right after that? Doesn't he go? I could have sworn I was invisible. Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, he's
I love
good.
Drax. I think Drax is a great character. I think his humor is hilarious.
Okay, so they do a great job. Oh, let's talk about this. Right before Thanos shows up, Doctor Strange goes into his little, his little thing, and he says that he used the Time Stone to go through time, and he sees 14 million. Is it million or billion? I think it's
Bazillion.
I think it's billion.
It was a lot.
I think it's 14 billion. But he's like, I go 14 billion. And Tony's like, how many did we win? And he said, 1. And so that sets up everything we need to know about what's coming up in the next movie. Doctor Strange is the only one that knows how we win. And so that's vital information. Okay? So then
I also believe that his giving up the stone is the result of his knowing.
well, let's talk about that in a second.
There's the only.
Hey,
yeah.
you're getting ahead.
Hang on, because I have something about that too. Okay, so then Thanos shows up. The great fight sequence. Mantis gets on top of him and makes him sleep. Right, and they're starting to pull the gauntlet off. I'm interested why it took them so long to get the gauntlet off.
Because it's a movie.
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, like,
Drama.
I mean, no, I get that reason, but like in the universe, like it didn't look like the gauntlet was holding itself on, right? Like I could see maybe if the gauntlet was like glowing, like the power was, like there was like a power trying not to let it come off, but it didn't seem like that. It just looked like they were like, oh, I gotta, it's kind of like trying to get your, trying to fit in pants that you used to wear when you were in high school.
That would take that long.
Yeah. So, but let's talk about the twist with Star-Lord. So, this whole time that Stark and Spider-Man are trying to get the gauntlet off, Star-Lord's just talking to him. He's talking trash. And he wants to know where Gamora is. And Mantis basically just says that, he's sad, he's really sad, and then we find out Gamora is dead. And then Peter just loses his mind. And then
Star-Lord.
And then
not Peter Parker.
Peter Quill.
And Star-Lord just punches him right in the face, knocks Mantis off. They don't get the gauntlet, so it's Star-Lord's fault. But let's just talk about that moment. What did you guys think? Like, I've heard a lot of arguments that it's basically Star-Lord's fault, and there are people that are kind of mad that happened. What's your take on that moment?
Well, my take is like a different sort of take. My take is Star-Lord's not that strong. That would have been. And did he do some kind of like mechanical punch?
He's
half celestial,
like ego.
He's half planet, yeah.
He's half planet. But he doesn't. What he does is he knocks Mantis off. He doesn't wake Thanos up, but he hits him so hard that Mantis gets jostled, and then that wakes Thanos up. So you're right. I don't think he's strong enough. I think it was just out of anger, and I think that he just knocks Mantis off.
I think it's interesting that he did it. I mean, it's that whole thing. It's like, here I am. I'm thinking about myself only. As soon as I hear this bad news, throw everything out the window, saving the universe. I'm gonna punch a dude in the face. It's kind of a typical guy move, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a typical Quill move, too.
Exactly.
Like, Quill doesn't really have a concept of the universe.
No,
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I mean, he's a kid, right? Like,
he was raised by a blue guy who kept trying to eat him.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a mature guy. And people that are like, oh, he shouldn't have done that. Well, what did you expect him to do? I mean, the guy, thinks Footloose is the greatest movie of all time, and he turns literally in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, he turns into friggin' Pac-Man at the end of the movie to fight the bad guy. Like, I mean, this is the level of maturity that we're dealing with, and I thought it was right on point. I thought it was exactly within his character to you
got a lot of unsettled emotional problems with Peter Quill. Mm-hmm. The death of his mother, finding out that his father did it, not really knowing how to process loss.
Yeah.
It's not shocking that this is what he would do.
Yeah, and then finally finding somebody who he loves, to kind of fill that void, and now she's gone. Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was
Nebula's still around.
Nebula that's true. Yes.
He could get with her. So.
We are not having this conversation. This isn't Avengers 10.
I don't mean it like you mean it. I meant hook up, like date her, whatever.
No, that's what I thought you meant.
Okay.
What is dating like in the post-Snap universe?
I don't know. Let's talk about the Snap. Okay, so
I don't want to talk about it.
Take what you can get. That's what it's like.
So we have this dramatic moment where, of course, Thanos wakes up. He starts basically, tearing everybody a new one. Stark has a Iron Man sword that he tries to attack Thanos with. Thanos rips it off of his arm and stabs Tony with it. Now, did either of you think that Tony was dead at that moment?
Yep,
yes.
I thought he was dead.
Man, what a great death too. The sun was like setting behind him, and it was cinematically, it looked just excellent. And I thought it would have been a nice death, maybe thematically, because he's alone. He's away from Cap. He never got to reconcile with Cap. He doesn't really get a hero's death. He's on an alien planet, getting married. Yeah,
I thought it would have been a real bold move to kill him off right there, and I thought they were going to.
Yeah,
the only reason I didn't think it is because of what you said, and I was like, "Oh, Chris knows what he's talking about, so he must be about to die off on a little planet with nobody."
Man.
That would have been bold.
That would have been a great.
I would have loved it. I would have thought it would have been great.
So then Doc Strange comes up.
But he already tried that. He already tried at the end of the first Avengers movie to die off in space alone.
Yeah, that's true. But he has a lot more to live for now than he did then. Okay, so then we have the infamous moment that we've talked about where he heckles with Doctor Strange, save his life, and I'll give you the time stone. And he gives me the time stone. Okay, I'll do it. Okay. Now, look.
Great idea.
This is the one I will disagree with you about, Donnie, because I think that this was vital for them winning. Again, Doctor Strange is the only person in the universe that has seen the way they can win. And so in his understanding of that, he had to give the stone. Now, the argument is, so far, every argument that I've heard is that was because he knows Iron Man is the key to stopping Thanos. Would we agree with that?
Yes.
So, to be contrary, I actually think that quite possibly Doctor Strange is the key, and Doctor Strange knew that he had to go
to the other side,
to the Soul World, and we'll talk about Soul World in a minute. So I actually think Doctor Strange is more of a key than Stark. Okay, so at this point, they're left exiled there. And Thanos.
I did like the interaction with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I'm Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made-up names.
That was good.
And then I love Cumberbatch's reaction. Like,
we're using our.
Why are you?
What do you call it? Our made-up names.
Made-up names.
Hi, I'm Peter.
Oh, then I'm
I'm
Spider-Man.
Dr. Strange.
Dude, he's a great Spider-Man.
Yeah, I will tell you, we skipped over it, but that initial scene between Stark and Strange, I thought was fantastic. Those are by far the two biggest egos in that movie, and to see them kind of go toe-to-toe for each other in the beginning, I thought was excellent. I thought it was super cool. Okay.
Yeah, I like that, too.
So Thanos jumps back to Wakanda. Now, this whole time while this is going on, the assault on Wakanda has already happened.
I was going to say something else. Chris took off, so it's fine. Keep going.
Sorry. We're already running long. I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to move
We're
on.
long.
We're unconstrained by time. Someone else said
We have
that.
a time stone. We can do it however we want.
I hate you
Time
all.
stone!
Yes, please shout it.
Time stone!
Okay, let's talk about Wakanda before Thanos shows up. So we get to Wakanda. We get this mindless army of, I don't know what they are, beastie alien looking things that we do not see until the very end of the movie, but whatever. We have Cap. Cap gets reunited with Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier has his metal arm. A new metal arm created by, it looks like, by vibranium, which is a nice nod. We get Hulk can
Are you sure it wasn't unobtainium?
You're the worst.
Okay, all right. Just checking. Hey, they never said.
I don't know. It could be. It could be adamantium for all we know.
Nice.
So we also get Hulk, Bruce Banner. Still can't change into Hulk, so he's driving the Hulkbuster armor, which was a funny scene when he's trying to learn how to drive.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. I like that they put him in that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think it would have been cool if at the very end, for whatever reason, I don't think it would have played to the story, but it would have been sweet if the Hulkbuster armor just like split in half and real Hulk stepped out of it.
I think that's what everybody was expecting, and I'm not sure that that's not what we're going to see in A4. In Avengers 4, but we need to talk about Hulk. But that's at the end of the show. So hang on a second.
Okay, so I don't get to. Okay,
what?
You were also mentioned Winter Soldier's arm, and I have a comment about that as well.
Okay, at the very end, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Avengers 4 at the very end. If it doesn't have to do with Avengers 4, then go ahead and say it.
It doesn't have anything to do with Avengers 4.
Okay,
it has
then what
to do
about
with the fact
Bucky's
that
arm?
we live in a world now in these movies where like everybody's pissed off because they can't walk or lose an arm, but it's like, what do you care? Rhodey's walking around, he lost his legs. Winter Soldier got his arm cut off, he got it back, no big deal. Iron Man got chopped open, we get some webbing, we'll just shut that up.
It's like Star Wars, man.
And at the end of
you chopped off a limb? Here's some metal. Here's
and
a
at
new
the end of the day, if none of that works, we'll just go back in time. No big deal.
All right. That's
too many loopholes.
I'm not saying I have a problem with the technology, because obviously we live in a world where Iron Man can do what Iron Man can do, but it's just this idea of like, I lost my legs. No, you didn't. You just got new ones.
So you're talking about a bigger problem, which is that we're starting to hit the point where there are no stakes to these movies. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Okay, so let's get there. All right, so we get the battle. These guys are attacking Wakanda. So the heroes that are there, we get Black Widow, Falcon, the rest of them. They're there. You've seen the trailer. You know
the
they're all
sidekicks. They're all there.
They're all the sidekicks there. We have
Black Widow lives so long in this world with not one power.
I will say this. That sneaking scene with Black Widow and Okoye and Scarlet Witch taking on not Ebony Maw. What's the chick's name? Crap. Anyway,
she bleeds purple.
No, she's not purple.
She bleeds purple.
Oh, she bleeds purple. Anyway, that scene where they're fighting her, I thought was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I thought it was great. Okay, so they decide to open the shield because they were running around the shield, and so Cap's and Black Panther's plan was, let's open the shield and be able to control where they're coming in, so we know where they're attacking, and so that's what they do, and they run headlong into it. I love the scene of Cap and Black Panther just hauling it in front of everybody and just going to town when they get there. I liked the Wakanda. What did you guys think about the Wakanda battle scene?
It was, I mean, I don't know. It was okay. I've never been a huge fan of the mass battle scenes in movies, like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. I mean, I get it. You have to have it, but and they do a pretty decent job of cutting to the individual, fights and stuff. Which, again, it's a lot to handle, but they do a pretty good job with it.
I love Winter Soldier picking up Rocket and just turning around in a circle and letting Rocket shoot everybody. That was great.
I might have missed that.
That's the thing. That's one of the issues I have with movies like this particular fight scene. You have War Machine and you have Falcon who can fly. First of all, I've never understood how flying characters get caught by things that are standing on the ground. Like, hey, don't fly so low. I mean, that's, just seems reasonable to me.
Logic
but that's just my thought. But that did happen in this movie. Mm-hmm. But it's like, why isn't... I mean, you've got War Machine, like, who has, like, a ray beam. I can't just stand there and go... and just mow them all down, build up a pile of bodies, and move on to the next cord of wood. Like, it's back to, like, the sheer, like, we can do anything. It doesn't seem like... I don't understand. Like, these things didn't even have weapons. They're just rabid dogs, essentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give me an AK-47 with an unlimited amount of rounds, and I can take out thousands of dogs.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know that I can argue with you. I mean, we don't know what the number.
But I'm gonna try.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, we don't know how many of them were, and also it's a movie. I mean, again, you have 26 heroes. You have to have them do something. So yeah, you can't have War Machine just you drop a nuke at the at the front of the gate and blow everybody up and then go have tea. Like that. That doesn't make a great movie. So, I mean, that's my only argument.
Would have been quite the plot twist, wouldn't it?
America did it.
It would have been. It would have been a great plot twist. Okay, so we do this for a while. You're right. It's the mandatory big giant action scene. They get to Vision. Now we didn't really talk about this, but Shuri from Black Panther is trying to basically separate Vision's consciousness from the stone, which I absolutely believe that she did. I do not believe. Succeeded. Yeah, I do not believe that Vision's dead.
She just got out of there so fast, nobody ever... Think about that. Nobody blinks and goes, whoa, what happened to her? That lady got away with all the data.
Yeah.
She's got everything she needs. She's going to be huge, I think, in the next movie.
I think she's going to be the next Iron Man.
Dwarf? Huge like a dwarf?
Yep, huge like a dwarf.
Like a space dwarf.
So, but at this point, they get into Vision. So Vision jumps out of the window fighting, and he ends up getting in the battle. At this point, Thanos is now on scene, and he is coming after Vision. The whole idea was that if they could separate Vision's consciousness, and this is really kind of the plot, like maybe the B plot of the movie, which is why while Thanos is trying to gather the stones, Captain America decides, okay, if we can just eliminate the stones, he'll never be able to complete his mission. So the idea was, let's separate Vision's consciousness from the Mind Stone, and then Scarlet Witch has the power to destroy the Mind Stone. Let's talk about Scarlet Witch for a second. Scarlet Witch is super powerful, and I feel like that she was way underutilized in this movie, but I think that's because they don't know what to do with her, and so I don't know how you fix that.
The directors?
I just think Marvel doesn't know what to do with her. Because we're talking like she's like Omega level, like in the comics. Like she literally in the comics said no more mutants and basically wiped out almost the entire population of mutants just by saying the words. So she is.
What's going to happen when her and Strange get together, hang out?
That's a movie I want to see. Okay, so let's go back. Anyway, so Scarlet Witch is the only one that has the power to destroy the stone. Now, we're saying the entire movie, you were just talking about the power of War Machine. We're talking about there is one person on the battlefield that has the power to destroy an Infinity Stone. That's huge. And so...
couldn't she have just gone, and all the dogs die?
I mean, again, that's what I'm saying.
Again,
you brought up War Machine. Like, I would argue Scarlet Witch could probably do that. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know that Marvel knows what they want to do with her yet. I don't know that they've defined her powers yet. So we don't know where she is. This goes back to the Reality Stone, and is it just proximity? Like, we don't know what those power limits are because Marvel hasn't really told us. But regardless, we get there. Thanos is on, he's there. He's in Wakanda, and they're basically like, like, we have to do it. You have to take Vision's life because we have to get rid of the stone, which she does in a very harrowing scene. Like, she basically destroys the only person that she loves by destroying the stone. And it's a super dramatic moment. It's great. This is also the scene where Thanos, goes to grab, and Cap, stops the gauntlet. We talked about that scene. It's a great scene. But then
I was certain, by the way, that scene in the trailers was much earlier in the movies, and that's when we were going to see Cap die. That's what I thought. I thought we were getting like that Cap was he was defending something and he was gonna die in that scene.
Gotcha.
I never would have. I would have bet anything that Cap died in this movie.
I would have too. Yeah. So
reference like 2 podcasts ago. I was joking about it.
Yeah. So we get here. So the Thanos reverses time, and he kills Vision, rips the stone right out of his head.
And right out of there.
He completes the gauntlet.
Mind Stone!
Kidney Stone!
At this point, around this time, Thor shows back up with Stormbreaker. And he basically wreaks havoc on everything. And then he lines up to take out Thanos. And he throws his hammer right at him, and it plunges right into his chest, taking Thanos down to his knees. Thor then comes up to grab the hammer to then boast that he said he was going to take him down, and now he has taken him down, to which Thanos responds,
You should have hit me in the head.
You should have taken my head. Because at that moment...
What he should have done is cut his arm off.
That would have been great too. So at that moment, Thanos snaps his fingers. And we don't immediately know what's going on. He snaps his fingers. At that moment, he jumps in his mind to the Soul Stone, where he sees Gamora, baby Gamora, standing there. And she said, "Did you do it?" He said, "Yeah." And she said, What did it cost you?" And he said, "Everything." And then
I didn't understand that scene at all.
And then it snaps back, and he opens a portal. He steps backwards through the portal and disappears. Okay?
Open the portal. Open the portal.
At this moment, we don't really...
I know what you're talking about.
We don't know what's happening. But it starts with Buck. I hate you all. You're the worst.
It starts with Buck.
It starts with Buck. He says, "Cap, I don't feel good," or something feels wrong, or whatever he says, and then Buck crumbles into like dust and flows away.
Why does his arm crumble? Why doesn't his arm fall on the ground metal?
Or clothes or anything. All of it all goes.
That's a great question. We'll talk about that.
They'll
Keep
need
saying that. This is the time. Why are we talking about it?
Oh my! So the argument is
episode 4 prediction.
Hang on. No. You got to wait for the episode 4 prediction.
I said for that. Yeah, I see the.
So the theory is they're not dead. The theory is that they were transported to the Soul Stone. Again, the Soul Stone gives you the power over life and death. And so in the comics, and I believe that they'll probably play it pretty close to the way they did in the comics, is that the Soul Stone houses the souls of anybody that the Gauntlet takes, which is why I don't think Gamora is dead either. And that's why I think Gamora shows up in baby form at the end. I think she is trapped in the Soul Stone. So I think that they're not dead. I think that they're basically just kind of materialize inside the Soul Stone. That's my theory. I don't know, but that would be how I would answer that question.
Does Bruce Banner disappear?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think anybody from the
none of the original team. So anybody before, I think it's anybody before Guardians is still around. And the only people other than that are Nebula, Rocket, and Okoye, if I remember correctly. They are the only 3 new people that stayed, which also is very interesting. And then probably Shuri. We don't know for sure that Shuri is there, but I would assume that she's still there.
Shuri, she is.
So then we just see...
I'm not joking. Don't call me Shuri.
We see scene by scene, people start to crumble. We see Black Panther go. We see Star-Lord and Drax and Mantis.
Scarlet Witch.
We see Scarlet Witch. We see Doctor Strange. We see Spider-Man.
Does he go? Does Doctor Strange go?
Doctor Strange
Yes.
goes, yeah.
Hey, there you go. Now you got Strange and Scarlet Witch together
In the Soul World.
Spider-Man
which, again,
went.
Yeah, Spider-Man went. What did you guys think about the Spider-Man death?
I thought that he died.
Did you think it was too dramatic?
I thought it was way
bit.
overly dramatic, in my opinion.
See, I kind of felt like that too.
Like he got this big thing, nobody else did. Everybody else was like, zoop,
well,
gone.
so let me help you with that.
Was it because he's so far away?
No, Spider-Man has spider sense, so he sensed what was happening before it actually happened.
Dude, you have an answer for everything. You're amazing.
That's what I do.
You know these
what I do.
comics like it's amazing.
I will say that Tony and in Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, Tony and Peter really kind of became really close, and I felt like it was a perfect ending to have him die or crumble in Tony's arms. I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was fitting for sure, but I did
great.
think it was overly dramatic.
Now, Doctor Strange looks right at Tony and says, "This was the only way," and then he disappears. So that's it. The movie then fades to Thanos stepping out of a hut on a mountain overlooking a sunrise, and he sits down, no gauntlet on his hand, and he smiles. And then we cut to black. Credits roll. We get the stinger where Nick Fury and Maria Hill are together. They both disappear, but just before Nick Fury disappears, he sends a space pager message out to Captain Marvel. And that is
Space Pager.
That is it. Okay, so real quick, we're gonna talk about Avengers 4 in a second. Before we jump there, anything that we missed that you want to bring out? Because that was.
I think you covered it pretty thoroughly, Chris.
I know. Sorry.
No one's still listening at this point.
I know. I'm sorry.
I liked the humor.
It was so funny. It was so funny. I hate you all.
I'd like to recap everything Chris just said. This movie made $1 billion.
Yeah,
It's really good. Had a lot of fighting.
Humor.
Questionable scenes we didn't really know what to do with, and I laughed. At the end,
a lot.
I didn't know who Captain Marvel was, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna. In fact, I didn't know at all what he paged until the guy behind me at the theater said the words Captain Marvel.
That is exactly what happened in my theater. I was like, I don't know what that is, and one guy behind me, he's like, "Oh, Captain Marvel." I'm like, okay.
Yes, and to which I then absorbed that information and acted like I knew what I was talking about to my son.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel.
Just so you know, bud, that is Captain Marvel's logo.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Captain
What
Marvel.
are her powers, Dad?
Captain
I have
Marvel.
no idea.
Captain Marvel
No.
is going to be
No.
great.
It would have been this. It actually would have gone this way. What are his powers, Dad? I don't know what his powers are. I think that he can possibly do some interesting things. Oh, he's a woman, right?
Shazam.
He was originally a man. The original
That's
Captain Marvel
true.
was a man.
And I know that he has a suit that came from the Kree.
That's well,
She.
Yeah.
And so, okay, let's talk about Avengers 4, just to recap, okay, because we have kept everybody a long time. Hopefully you guys like it. Listen, if you like this, I love doing this kind of stuff, and I know it's been a long show.
No one can tell, Chris. No one can tell how much you enjoy this.
If you like this, please message on the Facebook group that you like it so you shut Donnie up, all right? Please. Okay, so let's talk about Avengers 4. Let me say this. I am most interested for Avengers 4 because as much as I pretty much nailed what I thought was going to happen in Infinity War, I literally have no idea what's going to happen.
You have a full year, bro. You will know everything by then.
I don't
Does it feel like when Chris talks about how spot on he was with the predictions he had for this movie, does it feel like he's at a job interview being like, I just work too hard. Like I don't really have any negative qualities. I'm just too humble. I just worked too hard. I really nailed this one.
I'm just saying that when I left...
I'm just saying I'm good.
I'm just saying when I left Avengers 4, I honestly don't know how they're going to do this. So
yeah, I don't know what he's
any
going to be
thoughts?
about.
What are you feeling?
Well, things I've read say that the title for the next movie is a dead giveaway, so they're keeping the title. They've kept the title close to the chest.
I think it's going to be like Avengers Rebirth or Avengers Reassemble.
Ooh, that would be a good title. See, you even know the titles.
I mean, I'm just guessing. I don't know.
It's going to be that. Phil and I both know that's what it's going to be, and you're going to be like, I didn't know that.
I think the next movie should be called Guardians Reassemble, and it should be one of the Guardians actually putting Drax's pieces back together.
Yes, I'm
like
all for that.
He's
puzzle.
not pieces now. He's crumblies.
Stop ruining my ideas. I
have no thoughts, man. I'm just
in.
I'll go see it. It's it's kind of like The Empire Strikes Back. It was like kind of set you up for the next movie.
Absolutely, yeah. That's great.
But I will say, for a setup movie, it was fantastic.
Oh,
it was good. I really enjoyed it.
I can't wait to see what they do. I mean,
yeah, it's gonna be great. So, what movies will we get before that movie?
Okay,
We're gonna get Captain Marvel.
Next month we get Ant-Man and Wasp,
which looks awesome.
And I think it's going to be a much more important movie than anybody's believing that it's going to be.
Spoiler prediction: that white floaty thing—that's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Ghost. Yeah, the bad guy. That's
what I think.
See, Chris knows everything, man.
I agree. I agree
said
completely. I think that either in the very end of the movie, which is where I would put it, but possibly in the stinger, I think either Ant-Man or Wasp crumbles from the effects of the snap. We lose one of them.
So they're like, this is concurrent with.
Yes. So in Infinity War, they tell us that Hawkeye and Ant-Man both took a deal after Civil War, and so they're under house arrest. We know that Hank Pym and Wasp come and but basically get Scott Lang out of house arrest. So we know that it's basically happening, leading up to what's happening in Infinity War and then going into Infinity War. So I just feel like one of them are going to have to go.
Do you think Hawkeye is going to be a poignant character at some point?
So let me tell you my theory on Hawkeye. Let me tell you my theory on Hawkeye. I think Hawkeye watched his whole family crumble. And I think Hawkeye is going to lose his mind. And I think he's going to be just a completely loose cannon in the last movie.
And he's going to drink some gamma rays and turn into Hawkeye.
I like that. Write that down.
Oh, God.
Bold prediction.
That's definitely not going to happen. But so Hawkeye has been seen on set for Avengers 4, so we know he's there. We know he's shot scenes. He's wearing a very black and it looks goldish suit, so he may be taking the kind of the mantle of Ronin, which is a character that he played in the comics as well. So if he just kind of loses his mind and goes rogue, it could be kind of a cool thing with him. That's my guess. He's going to be there somehow. I think that you need to give him an edge, and I think the only way Joss Whedon made him a family man in Age of Ultron. So I think that the only way that you get him back on the field with a killer edge is that you take the family away from him.
That's the only interesting thing about him.
Exactly. So you take the family away.
Non-superhero stuff.
Yeah. So you take that.
He's just a normal dude. We already knew that.
So you take the family away, and I think that he becomes a pretty killer part. Okay, I think that. So
wait, what we were talking about is we get Ant-Man and Wasp.
Then you get next April. Next April you get Captain Marvel. Okay, and then you get Avengers 4 in May.
So we don't get BP. We don't get Black Panther 2.
No.
You don't think they're going to slip a Hawkeye movie in, kind of like Phil said, kind of under the radar, August, September?
I wish. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see
Black Widow standalone dropping in.
A Hawkeye. A Hawkeye and Black Widow movie would be amazing.
Hawkeye movie would be straight to video.
Right. I think a Hawkeye Black Widow movie would be the first Marvel movie I would not watch.
Oh, I love it.
Just be like, whatever.
If it was made like John Wick, but with Hawkeye and Black Widow, dude, that would be a killer movie, bro.
I think it would be more like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I think they would be enemies throughout the whole movie, trying to kill one another, and then be forced to realize why they should fight together.
Yeah, that could. Yeah.
Nice. Good call, Phil.
Remember in the first Avengers, they have that one scene where they're like, "Remember what happened in Budapest?" And he's like, "We don't talk about what happened in Budapest. I want to see that movie."
Yeah.
Okay, so then we get Captain Marvel, that leads into Avengers 4, and then we get Spider-Man in July, Spider-Man 2.
Bonus points if you can tell me where Budapest is. Chris.
Oh, I was going to say I know.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Can you name the continent?
Budapest is in the continent. I mean, it's in Europe. It's in Europe, right?
It is in Europe. Yes, you are correct.
That's probably as far as I can get. Budapest is in I don't know, Spain. I don't know.
Hungary.
Hungary.
I
wasn't like.
It's the capital city.
I didn't
of
say.
Hungary.
At least I didn't say Australia. I mean,
that's true. You got the continent.
Okay, let me just say this, and then we need to wrap. I think that
What? You're starting.
I think that they will snap again to put everything back, and I think it will be Cap. I think that that's how they have to end this. I think that it has to be Cap's movie. I think Cap is going to die. I will go as far as to say I do not think Iron Man dies. I actually almost think that maybe none of the other original Avengers die. It may only be Cap. But I think that Cap dies for sure. And I think he does it willingly. They spent the whole movie talking about we don't trade a life for a life with Vision. But Cap's whole thing is that he doesn't like bullies, and I just think that he puts the gauntlet on. I think that because he's just human, by snapping, it's gonna take everything out of him. But he does it anyways. So
you did originally predict. Sorry.
Sorry, Cap.
Sorry, Cap.
Omen of things to come.
That was pretty poignant, actually.
You going down, Cap?
You at one point predicted that Peter Quill would don the gauntlet in this movie.
I do. I did, and I don't know that that's still not possible, but I just feel like Cap has to go. This is Cap's last movie. It's got to be. Chris Evans has basically said he doesn't want to do it anymore. Marvel's trying to kind of switch over the guard. You have to have Cap go out and ablaze. Like, Cap is the heart of this universe. Even though Iron Man is like the face of it and kind of the driving force of it, Cap is the heart of the MCU, and I think you have to rip it out. I think it has to be, and I think it's going to be brutal. So, all right, that's all I got. Any final thoughts, guys?
No, I feel like I just watched the movie again.
I feel like I just relived it all the way through.
How many times have you seen it, Chris?
Just once.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not true.
That's true.
You only saw it one time.
I just saw it one time. I was going to go back, but I ended up canceling my second showing.
I am legitimately shocked that you've only seen it one time.
I've written about 4,000 words about it. Oh, hey, by the way, if you guys want to read more about my thoughts, you can go to Chris Quips. Just follow me on Twitter. You can get to a link there. I wrote a bunch about it. So
no one is surprised to hear that now.
Nobody's surprised. All right, that's it. We need to wrap.
That was good.
That was Avengers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We're not going to do a lot of spoiler casts, but when they're big movies like this, we probably will. I would like to do one for Solo because I am so pumped for that. But we will do them occasionally.
That means I have to actually go see that movie.
Yes, we'll do them occasionally.
I'm starting to get on board for that.
The movie comes out.
Save it.
This is Reel Amigos. You guys can subscribe to us on the podcast service that you choose. You can also see the video version on YouTube with our amazing props. So please do that. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up and let us know. We'd also love to know what you think is going to happen in Avengers 4. So in the comments down below, tell us what crazy things that you think. Do you think Hawkeye is going to take a gamma serum and become Hawkeye? Let us know in the comments.
I love that.
That is
great.
I just think his arrows would be like telephone poles. He'd be like,
oh, nice.
They'd be like orc arrows, like Boromir.
Yeah, those giant orc arrows.
All right, we've got to finish, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.